Welcome back to Soccer Talk with the Soul. It's brought to you by New Mexico Pinon Coffee. Got the president of the Albuquerque Soul, Ron Patel, general manager Larry Espinosa. I am JJ Buck. And as we look at the soccer world, it's starting to pick up. It was a great summer with Copa America. Of course, the Olympic soccer continues, but also a big time with the preseason games because you have some of the major teams in the world actually come to the United States and play some really interesting friendlies.
Yeah, I can't remember how long ago this started, probably 7-8 years ago when these teams started to come over for the preseason, and it's just been incredible what this tournament's become. After all, it is a preseason tournament, and if you look at like preseason NFL games, a lot of people really don't hold any stock. You don't really see any of the players. These guys are out there fine-tuning their skills, getting ready for their season. And I can see Larry's big smirk on his face, ready to talk about Liverpool losing to FC Men's 4-0. But focusing on the Champions Cup, I got to go to one of the games. I see Liverpool play at Levi's Stadium, which was just an amazing stadium. We played against AC Milan, won that game 2-0. But just the fact that you've got all these big names coming over, and they're playing in the games. They're not sitting on the bench while the scrubs are out there, kind of being out there like the NFL preseason. So it's been fun to watch.
And it's huge when you look at the product growing in the United States. You look at where they're playing some of these games in Columbus, Ohio State, Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the Wolverines play, and they're getting 100,000 people to show up to these soccer games.
And I think some of our highlights that are coming up soon, one of them is from the big house with Real Madrid and Chelsea. But it's just been kind of cool to see. I know that me and him always go back with banter about the different games. And stuff. I mean, I thought it was funny that Manchester United and Manchester City were supposed to play, and the game got canceled. This was in China because the turf was not good enough. And I guess it wasn't good enough for Zlatan to play on, right?
Yeah, he does. He also moved hotels because it didn't have a pool.
That's right, he did.
Yeah,
gotta have a pool.
That's right.
Well, we're talking about the action, so why not see some of the action that happened from the International Champions Cup? We have a couple games to throw up there for you and check out what went on. First up, Arsenal versus the MLS All Stars, and this is a unique event in itself.
Yeah, it's been a cool little tradition they've got where the All Stars beat Bayern Munich last year, so I know Pep wasn't too happy about that. This was the penalty, nice, well-taken penalty. Definitely a penalty. You can't really argue with that.
But how about this one? This is Drogba scoring somewhat on his former teammate Peter Cech.
He loved to score against Chelsea. He just loves putting in the back of the net against Chelsea. But then, unfortunately, for us Liverpool fans, Arsenal did get a great winner here.
Yeah, and you see that event as well. It just kind of highlights the summer that was and a tradition the MLS has playing against some of these teams. As you mentioned, Bayern Munich last year, Arsenal this year, and that was a game that mattered to them. They're getting ready for the season, and they're trying to find their form and fitness.
It was, and the Arsenal fans showed up in full force. You could hear them in that game. When I was up in the Bay Area to see Liverpool play, I stopped by and saw that stadium, the San Jose Quake Stadium, 20,000-seat stadium, brand new, right in Silicon Valley. It is beautiful. And what's funny about it is there's like 25 parking spots that are like player parking spots, and that's it. Everything is public transport or park and ride that comes into it. So it's pretty amazing to see. But the stadiums around the country are just becoming nicer and nicer. And the game, it's just so much fun to see the game grow so quickly.
And also just the soccer-specific stadiums that are on the rise and we're seeing throughout the MLS.
Yeah, you know, I was fortunate to go catch a game as well. I went to go see Chelsea Liverpool at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, so you went to a Liverpool game?
I did, and I was happy to see Chelsea win. So it was one of those things that you start looking at them, and you're going from a stadium like the Rose Bowl, where it holds 105,000 people. There were 65,000 people at that game, and you start looking at these attendances that are, the Big House, the Rose Bowl, Ohio State, and you have to kind of start to wonder, yeah, we're filling our MLS 20,000 seat stadiums. Are they going to start to get bigger? So,
well, what a lot of people don't realize is that Major League Soccer is the third highest attended sports league in the United States. So they get more fans now than NHL or NBA. The leaders are NFL in first and Major League Baseball. But before long, I'm pretty sure soccer will be able to catch Major League Baseball. There's still plenty of Major League Soccer regular season games, like you take the California Classico, I believe they call it, between the Quakes and the Galaxy. They'll play that game at Stanford Stadium and draw 60,000 people, no problem. So as we see the game growing and growing and growing, we're going to see the stadiums continue to fill more, and they're going to build bigger and better stadiums. And I'm looking forward to seeing when we catch Major League Baseball. Now, catching NFL is going to be tough to get 70,000, 80,000 seat stadiums in 24 different cities. I'm not sure we're going to catch that anytime soon.
Well, you look at Major League Soccer, a big part of the growth of this sport has been the talk of expansion franchises.
Yep.
And you expect some other teams that come in, look at Minnesota, Atlanta, who knows what's going to happen in Miami, but then the MLS talking about maybe even raising the fees to join the league.
Yeah, so MLS sits right now. They said they weren't going to go past 24 teams. They've got 20 teams in the league right now. LAFC just paid $110 million for their franchise. They've got Will Ferrell as one of their owners. I forget the list of stars. Mia Hamm is an owner of LAFC.
Johnson.
So there's a lot of big people behind that franchise. So everyone, New York City FC that came into the league a couple years ago paid $100 million also. So everyone thought maybe they were just paying a higher rate because the other teams I think were paying about $50 million. Well, Don Garber comes out last week and says, you know what, the MLS franchise is going to go up again somewhere near $200 million. And it's just astonishing to me when people say that, oh, soccer's not a real business. It's like, if people are going to pay $110, $200 million for a franchise, it is a real business. And that's what people don't understand is soccer makes money now. And it's a real business. It's not like the NASL in the 70s when they went out of business and folded. It's a real money-making business now. And there's a lot of people that are doing well from soccer.
I know one of the goals that you have as a franchise with Albuquerque Sol, is to keep growing and taking those steps. And obviously, the MLS would be the carrot at the end for a franchise like the Sol. But through this process, what have you seen, even just in the growth of the Sol over this time period?
It's been fun to see, especially the transition from St. Pius to UNM, as you guys were talking about in the first segment earlier. It's just been fun to see. Larry and I talk about this all the time. It's just getting someone to a game. When you can actually just get them to come to a game. They've seen soccer on TV. They're a little curious. They're like, that's cool. I watched the World Cup. And then they come out to a game. And Larry, you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You see how fast these guys are.
It's a major attraction now. The speed of play is a lot faster than people recognize. Sometimes I don't think that TV does it justice for whatever reason because of the switching of the camera angles, and it doesn't look as fast as it is. It's a fast game, and the growth. I think that the attention and the action that takes place during a game is what continues to grab people and attract people. To the point that MLS is now asking for $200 million. They come out with that, and then yet yesterday, this morning, Nashville comes out and says, "Oh, by the way, we're putting together a group because we want to look to bring an MLS team to Nashville." So the numbers aren't scaring people.
It wasn't more than a month ago that they announced their USL franchise.
Yeah.
And the local sports group. They had started. They were a really cool story. They started as a supporter-owned club. They were in the NPSL, which is a similar league to the PDL that we compete in. And they had their supporters were the ones that owned the club. So this group of businessmen went to the supporters group and said, hey, we want to take this to pro. They have different ownership requirements in the pro league, so you can't take a supporters owned group into it. But they basically acquired the brand. They're going to start playing in 2018. And the supporters still own 1% of the team, which is really cool. The team they started is now moving up to USL. And then no more than a month later, there's a group saying, hey, we can get this all the way to MLS. So.
Yeah,
it's fun to see.
It's fantastic just seeing the ownership you can have, and you can have that same kind of support with the Albuquerque Sol right here in your community. And a big thing about the game is also the availability of it. And you guys have been throwing back a little Man U Liverpool trash talk, and the Premier League season is already upon us Saturday. And I think that's been a big thing for kind of the fringe fan, seeing those games Saturday morning, realizing the kind of coverage that is behind it and the level of play there.
Yeah, we're doing the kickoff party at our brewery partner, Star Brothers Brewing. They're actually opening early for the first weekend, so this show is airing here on Friday night. Tomorrow morning, you want to get over to Star Brothers Brewing at 8 a.m. and see the games. A full lineup of games that we'll have on there. Come have a pint of beer. We have our own beer now at the Star Brothers Brewery. It's called the Electric Sun, the official beer of the Albuquerque Sol. So it's just cool to have great partners like them that support the game, support the growth of the game, and want to see everything grow together.
So what do you think? Liverpool wins it? Man United?
Not
what are
Liverpool.
Thoughts?
They've done a good job in trying to get things sorted out with going through a whole new structure with Klopp. We'll see. I don't think they did enough good recruiting over the summer.
Coming from the guy who has the team that spend hundreds and hundreds of millions because they think individual players are going to win a championship.
Well, Paul Pogba, the story of the summer in the Premier League, and really something you haven't seen in quite some time, a potential superstar in their prime, acquired by Man United. What do you think that's going to do for the league?
Yeah, yawn.
It's interesting, they're talking about people like Mata and some of the others trying to find a different home. So we'll see. The starting lineup that they have for Man U is pretty impressive. So.
Well, the Premier League season starts off this Saturday. You can join the Albuquerque Sol at Star Brothers Brewing bright and early, 8 a.m. for the kickoff of the season. When we come back on Soccer Talk with the Albuquerque Sol, we'll find out what else is going on in the Albuquerque soccer community coming up next.